Good afternoon, traders. Yeah, we're on YouTube now. Thank you. We still have about a minute to start. So if any one of you guys have anything special you wanted to ask, I could answer. We're on YouTube, so let's not waste the time. For those of you who are watching in YouTube, this is the Skype. This is my Skype where you can contact me because a lot of people are still sending message to Facebook, and some people have even sent me message in TradingView. I'm not there, guys. If you send me message to TradingView, I wouldn't be able to answer you, right? So just so you know, don't send me message there. I haven't been there for like a year and a half. I'm only using the charts. The charts has nothing to do with the social site, right? And hopefully I can find a good enough chart to change this very soon. So let's go. It's MANGAL 457. Right, you can that's my Skype. You can Skype me if you need any information. And for those of you who are already signing up for the course, we're starting on 19. For those who are still interested, you know where to go. So I will still have about 30 seconds before we actually start. I don't want to start before time. Let's go. Yeah, we should start now. Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to the weekly outlook. I don't see quite a lot of you using the link now, but a lot of you do go on YouTube. I hope you can use the link because you get to ask questions. You can always find the link on my Facebook page, or you can find it on Twitter. And you can help share it for those, those who cannot find it or those who are not seeing it. So let's go. Let's start. So I'm on silver, and I'll start with silver today. Because I think you're about to have a very, very good opportunity, and you might not get it the third time. You're getting it the second time, right? So you might not get this a third time. The second, watch for this here right now. Remember when we started to do this, we said we're expecting it to consolidate without breaking this low. I still don't think, basically by the patterns we are looking at, I don't think they're going to come to this low. So if you want to buy, here is a good place to buy. When you calculate your risk to zero, because there is a chance that it could get to, I don't know, plus 10 maybe. Rarely, if it does good, it's going to spend less than a second there. But if it does get there, you don't want to be taken out of the trade. If it's going to just make one spike down and one spike up, you don't want that to happen. Right? So silver is traded a little different right now, especially from these price range. I'm expecting it to go up. If you don't want to get so early in the trade, then you can wait for this to break out of this pattern and then get in. So which means you'll get in somewhere around this area here. When we break out of that, that will confirm our thought that this here is just a regular flat for upside. Right? So those are two options. One, you can wait for it to come back here and then look for the buy. One, you can just take the risk here because you really don't care where the stop is. Your risk is calculated at zero. I'm in the trade. So basically, I've closed mine and reopened it. I've closed it somewhere at the top here and I've reopened it. I think last week I told you about that we're expecting this move to go down back. We didn't think that move was going to break out because of the pattern we saw here. So this is a good buy opportunity. Maybe it goes a little lower. If they do break this low, that will give us a different information, but that still will mean it's going to go back up. The only thing it's going to tell us is what happens to the bigger trend. Right? And how long it's going to take to go up from there. That's all the information you're going to get. So let's start. Dollar index. Dollar index, we're still going sideways. We came back, kind of drop a little. It's going back up now. And the question you would have is, what is it doing when it comes to the top there now? Right? So it comes to the top. If this is going to continue to go, right? That's your question. Is it going to continue? Do we have a complete pattern somewhere here to make it go? Or is it going to make a bigger pattern here before it goes? So in this area, we're always looking for the possibility of them coming back. So last week, we were looking for that. Instead, they stayed a little more longer here. They did drop down, make a 1, 2, 3. And then instead started to go back up. So now we're going to look at this as a sharp move up. There's a possibility that this could still be a B wave within an expanding or running flat. So I think it will be running. I have to check the low. Let me see. Well, that depends on if we come back and break the low on the downside. So we already broke the top. So it's going to be either an expanding or running flat. So what I would watch here is if and when they break that top. If and when they break the top, it starts to turn, you get a trade to the downside all the way back to here. But if when it breaks the top, it continues to go, which means anywhere you get a flag here becomes a buy setup, right? Anytime you get a flag or a correction in this, which means you had a buy set up here, you could have got a buy. So if they make a correction or a flag here, you can go with this. Be careful with this piece. Because if they just break that top and turn, you will have to get out very early, or you would have to close the trade for break even and then look for the downside back to this level. I'm inclined to believe they're going to turn. And we will get this week going down rather than going up. Let's see which one of those two options come up. Right? Now, again, let me just stress this for the new traders who don't understand wave analysis. Because this is a question a lot of people come on with, especially when they're new to the theory. And not only when they're new to the theory, actually some traders who are very experienced in the theory get this same very problem, right? Because I had a live session in Dubai with my traders, a wonderful session. We met up at one of the golf clubs, which was wonderful. We had a wonderful time, and it was a live session. And I found out that even traders who will be doing this thing for 1 or 2 years still makes this mistake. Assuming that the consolidation is finished when you have a three-wave structure, that, oh, it's finished, it's going to go now, that's it. We've got a nice correction time for it to go, and it's going to go. And I think I've warned you, like I've warned all my traders over 1,000 times, that it is not so. There's a huge difference between understanding what Elliott wavers do and understanding what we do. Elliott wavers count ABC and they're expecting an impulse, and they don't get that impulse. And the reason it doesn't happen is because patterns, when they're in corrections, are complex. They're not always very simple. So I'm going to stop here for a second. And for those of you who don't like me stop when I'm doing the webinar to explain things to traders who are struggling, you can leave right now. Don't write me and think again that I should just do the webinar and don't explain things, right? You have a choice. So if you don't like this part, you can leave right now. I'm going to explain to those who know I'm struggling and really needs this part to help them. The reason for me being here is to help traders. It's not just to give you a free webinar. It's to help you understand how patterns can develop and how you should learn this thing and why you should learn it. So every time you think you know that the correction could be over after a three-wave here and it's going to go, think again. I want you, all of you should take a snapshot of this and keep it in front of you. Because even though it made a more complex pattern in this part and you were thinking, okay, now they break out, they're going to go, it still didn't happen. And then it actually make another three-wave come down here and you're thinking maybe this is going to go. Well, that still didn't happen. And then it came here and go back here and you're thinking, okay, well, maybe now it should go. And that is the one that goes. This took 3 years. Now, not all corrections are like that, but that is to remind you every time. And I think you guys know where this went, right? This one actually went also, that is one we're looking at. Not every time you have a correction that is a simple three-wave structure means you're going to leave. Traders tend to get this. But oh, it just made a correction. Why is it not going now? Right? It's not about your ABC or your flat or your whatever. That's not the market does not follow your rules. It doesn't follow ABC and then now it has to go. The market is going to do what it is going to do. Your job is not to look for ABCs. Your job is to understand this entire corrective structure. Is that a complete one? Is there a next possibility in it? If there is a next possibility, what is the next possibility? If you have a next possibility, what pattern you'll be looking at? I can't help stressing this. And sometimes traders in my course struggle with that, right? Some struggle with it. That's why we still have 30% not being successful. And some who are successful also struggle with that sometimes. Believe me, I've dealt with them. And I've seen some traders who double their account still struggle with understanding this possibility, right? So that doesn't mean because you're very successful, you're good at catching the waves, you're good at catching all of that, but understanding and analyzing this and understanding it to the depth it is not that easy, right? It has nothing to do with your training. It has to do with how you analyze patterns, how you look at them, right? You can be very successful trader just looking at what we do and picking up the parts that you understand. And trade well, catching, there's an impulse, you get into the flag and you take the trade and you make money. But it's also good to, if you can do this analysis in depth and understand it, then it really makes your life much easier. So let's go back to where we are. We're right here. We do have something that is a correction. It doesn't mean that the correction is completed. So what I'm going to look at now, that could be of a lower degree, and we will make a correction of a bigger degree. So this point here, you'll have to watch for a flag. Go for a buy, get it to break even. If it comes down, look for a flag, sell it back, and keep that one to this level. Or at least close to this level if it's a running flag. I hope that is clear, right? So let's go euro. Same thing. You can see that, right? Same thing. So you want to know what those 2 arrows are. I'm not sure whether I had them for you last week, but I had them for our group. We're looking for a possibility of a running flat and then go back down. I think I mentioned this last week in the trade in the room. So we're looking at this to come up some more, become a running flat and come down, which means you would have had a trade set up there and you're getting a possible one more trade set up here. At least one more, right? See, it works. That's the whole point. You look at it, you said, okay, tell me what the possibility is. If it does it, what pattern will it do? And if it makes that pattern and it starts to go in the direction I expect to go to, can I trade it? It's that easy, right? It's not very complicated if you know it. Let me just clear it up. If you know it, if you know exactly what you're doing, it's not difficult. If you don't know, then it's really, really tough for you. And I get traders who have never learned this, don't understand it, always thinking, oh, well, that doesn't work. It works. You can see it day in, day out, right? So watch this. You get a correction here, sell. Also watch this low again. Come back to the same thing. Watch that low. Even if they break that low, does not mean they're going. There is always a potential of them stopping some here and come back right back to the top before they end up going to the bottom. And if they end up, they could go very, very low. So you're going to look for trade setups here. You're going to trade it, but when you're in these areas where a pattern and not where the low or the highs are, don't think it has to do with the low or the highs. It has to do with the possibility of another pattern developing. It's not every high or low you have to be careful of, right? So it has no connections to the highs or the lows. Even my traders got that. Hey, you keep saying these highs and lows. I can't figure out which highs and lows. Go back, learn the pattern stuff. And as soon as they go back and they pay attention to the pattern, they start to know which highs and lows you have to be careful of. Right? The ones where you can have a change in structure, where you can have a bigger pattern developing, another pattern developing, it can get more complex. Those are the ones you have to look at. So right now, we have to look at this one. And we will have to look at this one if it comes back to the top. Because we may be making a flat, in this case, probably a running flat. So I'll be expecting this to go down some more here. Probably finish here, depending on what happens at the bottom there in the 60 minutes. I would decide whether I get that trade to the upside or whether it's going to continue to go. Okay? You get a correction, sell. You get a sharp impulse up and a correction, buy. I think that's what exactly I told you when it was in this area here, right? You get a sharp impulse and a flag, sell. You get a correction, sell. So, pound. I think this one, we had these lines drawn since the week before, and I said I'm going to leave them there so you can see how the pattern plays out, right? I do think they can go back to the top, right? Right now, they came down pretty sharp. We're still in this B wave. There is only one case where they can come back here first and then go back up. If we looked at this as a possible running flat in there for a B wave and then go back for a C and then come down. See that? I would not know that possibility until this happens. So that was the possibility we were looking at until this sharp wave happens there. And when that happens, then I'm saying, okay, yeah, that looks like a possibility. If this is all the correction you have at this point, if that is all the correction, then we're going to go back up here, tag that top, and then fall. I don't think they're going down from here. I'm not looking at a contracting flat as a possibility. It is possible. So what are the three possibilities? First possibility, this is a contracting flat and we're totally going down. Second, this is making a bigger running flat here, comes back to the low, go back up there, and then go down. You notice the down part in it. Third possibility is, well, we're just going up. This is the start of it. We're going up for a regular flat. We're going to break that up and then go down. You can make any one of those patterns with what you have right now. You just have to add some pieces more to it, and those pieces will confirm one of the three of those patterns. So for the downside, if you get flags here, sell. If you get flags or corrections, sell, which is you go into 1 hour, and if you know what you're talking about, you should be selling that, you should be selling this, you could be selling this. If they make a correction here, you sell, right? Okay. If that doesn't happen, you get an up move here, you get a flag here, and you buy it to the top. Yeah, that's the next possibility. So I still think there is a chance they can go to the top here. make a bigger correction here, or probably make a sharp move, make a flag and give you that one. While you are in this correction, trading is very difficult. While you're in the patterns, while you're in this whole corrective zone, trading is difficult because the smaller patterns inside, which is like this one. See this smaller patterns, this pattern here. The possibility of another one like that developing here, something like this, coming like this, get back here, doing that, get back here, then go up. The possibility of something developing here is what you can't forecast. We don't make those forecasts because you should never make those forecasts. It could happen. You would forecast it as pieces are developing that is going to tell you that this is a possible forecast you could get. These are possible lower degrees patterns that could develop. Well, then yes, we start doing that. But you don't start doing that from now because you're going to get yourself in a lot of trouble, right? So there is a possibility also, this just making a kind of a go back up here, drop back lower, then go finish the move and then go down. Okay? Possibilities that can develop as the structure is developing. What is the advantage of that? The advantage of that is knowing that it exists and knowing the possibilities. Because when you're trading from knowledge, it becomes quite easy. If you took a buy there, you get a buy set. If you take a buy and it starts to not go your way, it starts to behave differently. First, you got 20 pips up and then it starts to drop. You start panicking if you have no idea what could happen in that possible structure. If you understand how that possible structure could develop, you know how to deal with the trade, whether you have to take off the trade, whether you can wait to be stopped out, whether you will, it's going to go back up so you can get a break even before it goes down, or that's just a pullback to continue to go. And knowing those things is what is going to help you in your trading, what decision to make and how to trade. And that's the advantage of understanding wave analysis. Because without it, you have no idea what's going on, right? You're just going to be trading in the blind and you're going to hope that it works for you. So watch it, we're still sideways. Can this be more complex? Remember, I just showed you one that was very, very complex. Pancad, yes, it can get more complex. We will start with the first simple pattern, and then we will move on to complexity if it develops complex. See? Aussie. Broke out, you got a flag, you're going. Very deep pullback. I didn't think it's going to get so deep, but it got a deep pullback. That means this is over, that means two things right now here. Either this is the first impulse up and we are making deeper corrections here to continue to go up, or we are looking at a possible running flat in there and we're going to go down. So if it is going to do one out of those two, right, if you're going to get one out of those two, you will have to wait for confirmation before you take any trade. So trading to the downside, wait for a flag. I think let me show you what it looks like. It looks like that, and then sell. For the upside, they're likely going to go very slow like this. They're going to drop, and then they're going to go back up. You have to recognize the difference between those two. The sell setup and the buy setup. And that is what understanding patterns is going to help you to do. Right? Can it break the previous high? Previous high on which time frame? We're talking about this previous high here, not expecting them to break it. What I would expect them to do is probably come like this and then probably go back down. Right? If you're talking about this high here, of course it can break that. Breaking that high will not change the structure. It will not change what you're looking for in the structure. It's going to just turn a running flat into an expanding flat if it's going down. And if it is going up, it's just going to continue to go up. So breaking, like I said, it's not about all the highs and lows. Right? I just mentioned that, and you can see where you're getting it wrong already. That high is insignificant right now to the patterns we're looking at. This high is significant to the patterns we're looking at. So right now, if this comes here and go down, we would be looking at this as a big running flat. And it's possible that that is it, because we still don't know what to do with that as yet. Right? That is something standing out, waiting to be fulfilled. And it will be fulfilled. We will get it. We'll understand what it is. We just need some more structures in it. And that's one of the topics we're teaching in the room, in the course. Sometimes you just have to wait to confirm the patterns, but you can still trade while that confirmation is coming. And I've shown my traders a number of places where you have to wait like a whole year to confirm what that one sharp move was. You get a sharp move and the trade just keeps going and you can't figure out what the pattern is. But a year after, you got another sharp move, and bingo, you got it right there, right? You start, oh well, that was easy. When you do them back testing, you can see it clearly because all the information is there. When you're trading it live, you forget to test the time you took to get that pattern clear and the time you're taking to get this pattern clear. Those are important things as well, right? So I think you can still look for upside. If you're going to look for a sell, wait for a good flag. And now I would probably wait for a correction, not a flag. You had a number of small flags already. Wait for a correction and then go for the sell. Right? Let's go. New Zealand, USD. We expected this to go, and I still think it could go some more. I think you can start to see this. I want to bring this one up because we've been saying, remember when this thing was going down? I kept telling you, this thing is unaccounted for. It will have to happen. We'll have to have a match for it in the future. We thought this one was going to do it, and then we thought that one is going to do it, and then we thought this one is going to do it, and then we thought this one is going to do it, and now I think this one is going to do it. Sounds like this is crazy, right? Like, how the hell do you trade that if you're thinking that all of them can do it? It's pretty easy. Actually, it's joy trading it like that. Let me show you the first one. You buy here, you can put the break even. You can put in the profit. You buy here, you can put in the break even, you can put in the profit. You buy here, you can put in the break even, you can put in the profit. You buy here, you can put in the profit, put in the break even. You buy here, you can do the same, and you buy here again, and now you're really making it. And if it continues to go, you make it. Every single one of these are 100 plus pips, so you will get more than break even out of them. Not only would you get that, you will get the sell setup here, you will get the sell setup here, you will get the sell setup from here, and I also gave you the sell setup from here, which became a break even trade. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buy opportunities before you get the trade, all with possible profit, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sell opportunities, 4 of which give you profit and 1 which is a break even. Right? See that? That's it. So that's how trading. Yes, running flats are there quite a lot. And the reasons you've never seen them before, and the reason most Elliott waivers don't see them, and the reason we didn't see them so good 3 years ago, is because they're complicated. And it took us a while to figure out that these, it took us a while to figure out, yes, Mark will tell you, he's in the room now, he just took the course. And he's learning to love the running flats and how you can trade them, right? We took about 3 years to really figure out all the possibilities of a running flat. In Elliott wave theory, they will tell you that a running flat is like this. You get an impulse, you get your A wave, you get a B wave there, you come back to the C wave and you go. That's what is a running flat in Elliott wave theory. There's only about 1% running flat like this. 90% of the running flats look like this. You get an impulse, you get a pullback, you get this, you get a pullback, and then you go. This is the pattern we identified. We clearly identified that. Nobody else in Elliott wave has ever identified that. But because Elliott wave does have the pattern that called running flat, we don't want to take credit for it. We will give it to him. We just call it running flat. We remain as a running flat because it fits the rules for running flat, right? I'm not a very egoistic chap. I don't like to take credit for things that, somebody has actually named before me, even if I find another variation of it. There's no need for that, as long as you can learn it. So we think this is a running flat, and we have proven many of them. I think right in this room, most of you following me have seen so many of them. So we're looking for this. And you know how you know it's going to happen? When you look at this, this is happening, and you said, guys, one of this has to happen. To complete a flat, one has to happen, and then you watch it happen. Right? So right now we're looking for this to go up, and I think you're going to get some more upside, probably a correction here, and continue to go. So here's what you're going to do. If you're starting to get a correction, I would not look for a sell right now. I'd let it go back up and then see if there's a sell opportunity. Maybe even take the buy, look for a sell, and then look for the upside. Could this actually go down from here? Could this be the equivalent of that pattern? So if you take it, let's go back to the 4 and show you. If you take this line and you bring it down here, could that be the equivalent? Right now it's about three quarter of it. In rare cases it could be, but most cases we look for them, let them complete, let them become almost equal. Not necessarily equal, but almost equal, right? And then that would be good. So I still think there's more upside here. Let's see if that plays out. Yen, we're still going up, and I still think we're going to go more up. So look for buy setups. Start looking. You're getting buy setups. Look for them. A lot of complicated patterns here. We're not going to go into the details of it, and you're getting a buy setup here actually. Right? So look for the break. Look for trades to the upside. Any downside is still correction. USD CAD. We finally tagged the top. Right, we finally tagged that top. So now we have to decide what this piece is. Now they're about to tell us what they're doing here. We're expecting this to go back down. Right? Could it be more complicated than that, which means can they come here and still go back up? We will see when that happens. But right now, this is not going, it's not going as fast as we would like it to go, but it's still going up. Like I said, there's only one option whereby I'm still going to be looking for this to continue up. One option. They will have to really break out of this entire structure. Because right now we're still looking at this structure as a possible 1, 2, 3 for downside. Not totally downside, but at least downside one more to this level. And after that, they'll talk to us. From there, we will see what happens. So if you're getting sell setups in CAD short term, you should take it. For the buy setups, we saw this one. Remember that buy setup? Then we saw this as it made the flag here. Right? You made that flag. You could have seen it, and all of you could have seen that. If you were trading during the news, you would have got that. And there's a good chance that we will watch, see if they make any flag here for upside. We'll buy. But I do think we'll be more keen looking for the downside. Right? It's more set for the downside. USD Swiss. Got a breakout. We broke the top. We got 1, 2, 3. They're going back up. Now, if we break this top, that changes the start of any downside, right? Let's go back to the daily. We broke this top here. It was important to break that top. Now we will look at this top. If they're coming to test that top, or if they're going to turn to the downside. Either of those two possibilities exists. You have a complete pattern. You don't have the end of the structure as yet. So go to the 1 hour. If this one, there's a 2 here. I don't think you can see it. This piece here. Right, that 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If this is going to continue to go up, it will have to break out of this whole structure, break that top. That is why we're keeping an eye on that top. So if you start to get anything above here, look for buys and look for this one. That could be the trade. If this is going to make an expanding flat for downside, you probably will have to wait for a sell when this drops very hard, make a flag, and then look for that. Only then you will look for sells. Don't try to take sells from here. It could be dangerous, right? So make sure you get a sharp move, get a correction, and then look for the sell. But the buy setup, if you get a flag here, the buy setup is a good one. Because potentially they can retest this top. Silver, I started with this, and you should look for buy setup. If it drops more, doesn't make a difference. You know how to trade it. Gold, we made a very sharp move up, and that did not end. This was not all the correction, but if you bought this, you made money. Right? We said, remember, I said we're not sure that's all the correction. You go up, you get a 1, 2, 3. They're coming down. You have a whole pattern here now. Let's see what happens when it comes to this level. Look for upside. Right? If it drops lower than this and comes to this level, we'll look for upside. The upside would either be 2 things: a move back to the top or a correction here for a drop. Right? Depending on whether you're looking at this as a 1, 2, 3 and downside, or whether you're looking at it as a 4 and a 5th one up. Right? Both possible. Look for this. If it does this, you sell. If it goes up sharp, look for buy setups. Possibility for both right now in that structure as it is. Euro Aus, just look for sells. They're consolidating, they'll go lower. Euro New Zealand, they're consolidating. They will go lower, but first you can get a little upside because this consolidation is looking upside. Let me just turn it for you. You can see that consolidation is looking like it's going to go up first. So I wouldn't be surprised if they make a spike up and then start to drop, giving you this pattern. All right, so first you might get a buy here and then you would look for the sell. EuroCAD, we're still within the pattern we showed you last week, and I still think that It looks now like this might still go back here before it fall. But if they consolidate here more and decide to go down, you will have to go with that trade. But I think I'm looking at a bigger pattern here, and I do think they can go up one more before they come down, right? Because we're still in this one, and every time they drop, they tend to go back to the top, right? So there's a good chance. Oh, sorry, there's a good chance this could go back here before they come down, right? It's kind of consolidating in this zone here. I think better to stay out of it. This one would be difficult for you, so stay out of it. Euro Swiss. The downside works like magic. I told you last week, no matter what you do, this here is a correction. Even if this correction crawls its way back to the top there, it is still a correction for downside. See? That was just obvious because you know you're going to get it. So if you got that trade, good, congratulations to you. If you haven't got it, wait for a flag and look for a sell. Wait for a correction here and sell it because it has more to go. It has quite a lot more to go. You see, we already showed you where it could go. We showed you all of this and we tell you where we were expecting. As a matter of fact, you'll expect it to come here. We're not going to be so thin. We're saying just keep your eyes when it comes back to this level here first. Right then, I still think it's downside. I don't think this here. I don't think we're making a flat for more upside. Put it that way. I think we're actually heading downside. If they're making a flat for more upside, that flat will have to come all the way here and then probably turn to the upside. By then, you'll have enough pips to take profit or move it to break even or do whatever you want. Euro yen, it's going up. We're getting a pullback. So now we can relook at the structure and say, is it repeating what the previous 3 waves did? Right? 2 options. Option, you get 1, 2, 3. You get 1, 2, 3. You get 1, 2, 3. And this one is making a 1, 2, 3 to go down. That means they will break the low. Or this piece here is still making 1, 2, 3, and this go back up here, tag the top, then come down. So what you're going to look for here right now is this 4 hour. We broke, that doesn't mean anything. Breaking the structure doesn't, breaking that part doesn't mean anything. What happens in here now? If you get correction, sell, take profit. You get correction, sell, take profit. You get correction, sell, take profit. Don't keep the trade. If for any reason you see this takes off to the upside, wait for a flag, buy, keep the trade. That's a longer term trade to go up all the way back to this top. Here's the top. Okay, it's here. Go back and retest that top. So if you get a small trade here with a flag and a 60 minutes, you can buy and keep it to this level. If you get a sell, you will have to take profit every time the impulse drops and starts to correct. Europound, we're getting some correction finally. Once it started to do this, remember last week I told you be careful, they're going to make some corrections, right? So we're getting some corrections in here. Start to look for sell setups again. See, they're correcting. They could correct a while more, right? Which means that this could come back here, go back some more, come back, go back some more. But you're making a correction for downside, right? So look for the downside. Just a little correction here, and then we're looking for one more drop way down to the bottom here. Pangos, already breaking down. You broke out of this. It didn't give a regular flat. This might have been difficult for you to trade, and that's okay. That entry order would have given you plus or break even, and that's also okay if you do that. We're getting some bigger corrections. So right now, this is going like that, which means that very soon we're going to get, well, they're already making a deep correction here. You can see that. They got one here. You made one, you go back, you got another one, you probably get another one up and then drop. You know, there's a good chance that they're making a bigger correction. Avoid trading when they're making those deep corrections if you don't know structure, right? Because all they're probably doing is going to come here very slowly to about this level, and then we will see what happens from there. Does it go back up one more, or do we break through this entire structure, right? This entire big structure. If they're going to break through the structure, they're going to make a very big correction before they do that. So you will still go sideways for a while. So short term, you're looking for sell setups here, very short term. But you know, if you don't get them, don't force it. It's pulling back very fast. All right, so let's see how that goes. I still think we're going to get some more sells before they make a deep correction. Better not to trade it. It's not worth it. Pound New Zealand, this is coming, and we may be breaking out of the daily structure. That is not confirming anything as yet. That's very small. But we may be breaking out of that. And if we break out of that, we're going big time downside after a daily correction. So we have had corrections in there, but none of them are daily corrections, right? So watch this piece here. If you get a flag sell, if you get another flag sell, take profit, take profit, take profit. Because very soon they're going to do this before they go, which means this one will be more like that, go back up there and then come down. A bigger one than that and a bigger one than this needs to happen here to continue. So what I mean by that is go to the daily. And if they're going to continue to go down, we need a daily correction somewhere in here. Right? There will need to be a daily correction somewhere here. So short-term trading on the 60 minutes is okay. You get a flag, you take profit, get out of it, and then wait. And if they start to correct now, let's say by this week they decide they're going to correct to the upside, you can actually buy. It's a daily correction, so you can look for buy setups. All trades would be short-term. Pang Yen, it's finally breaking down. So we still have the possibility of them coming to retest this low, which we think they should have done a long time back without that deep pullback. But we can't confirm that. So what we would look at is what happens to this. If you get a flag here, see that little correction? You don't want a big correction. You want a small one like this. If they get a big one like that, it's okay, but you want a small correction. You want a correction like that. You get a correction like that there, look for sell way back to this low. And possible all the way to this low. Right? If instead of getting that correction, this starts to go back up like that, retest the top, come down here, go, you're going for a big buy. We will call this the end of the running flat. That would confirm the end of the running flat. If they don't, and they don't do this, I don't think they're going to do that, but I'm not trading my thinking. I'm trading what the chart is going to give, right? My thinking is my personal bias. And I trade what the chart is telling me. So if I get a flag here, I'm selling to this level. And when it comes here, we'll be careful. Because that level, both levels will end a certain structure. Pancad. Pancad is going up, it's going down, it's going back up, which means we're making one of those long, drawn-out, complicated corrective structure. And it is a corrective structure, don't worry. You're making a B wave. In the middle, you will have to come back here. You'll have to go back up there. You'll probably come back. You'll probably go back. And you know, Pancad is the one known for making these long, drawn-out corrections, right? We already figured that out. So that's okay. Let them make the corrections, and then we look at it. Could this be a reversal to upside? As of now, no. Structurally, this doesn't look like something that is going to reverse anywhere. You could probably get a buy setup here. One more trade, take profit. This could drop, make a flag or a correction here, and then you sell it back to this low. They will go back up. Anywhere in this area here, it will go back up. Because this will not give you a complete corrective structure. So it will likely have to go back up before you get that structure. If they make a bigger running flat somewhere in the middle, we'll figure it out, but it will still go back up, right? Because you have an incomplete pattern. Chief. This one also broke the top. So the question we have, is this all the correction again now? Is this all the correction? Or are they making a bigger flat somewhere in here and then go back up and then come down? Remember, we're making a daily correction here. The same daily correction I told you we were expecting on the pound New Zealand before it goes down, right? See this? We made this big corrective structure. And this sharp move down. So they're correcting this sharp move and they can go higher, right? So now if you get sell setups here, you're looking for this to go down. Now, that's not necessarily it's going to go down, right? But very often they will. It could still come here, very slowly come back to this level, go back up there, give you a bigger three-wave structure, and then drop, right? That is not rare. Let me go back and show you in any one of those patterns, but it actually does that. You got to move up, you got to move down, you got to move up, and then they drop, right? You can see that anywhere if you look at the bigger picture. So I'm not even going to go into that one. That's like, you know, that's a whole big one, but you can see this. I think all of you can see this, and all of you know that pattern. They kind of make a sharp one. They climb up back to the top. They drop again, and then they go up, finish the structure. 1, 2, 3. So that's why it's wave analysis and not straight analysis. It's wave, right? You got a lot of waves in it. So this is what you're going to look for. This could be one wave, or it could be the entire corrected structure, which means look for sell setups. It's easy, right? Start looking for sell setups right in here. It's easy now. You can start looking for those sell setups, which means if you get a correction or a flag here, sell, sell, sell when it comes here, right? Take profit, take profit, take profit, wait. Go back up like this, you buy back to the top. It starts, continue to drop, go ahead and sell. Right? It's going to go more down. Right? You sold a few times and gave up. Well, I told you already, I think I've told you personally now, you need to learn patterns. You've been around for a long time. I know you need to take the course and learn the patterns because you're not going to get it by yourself. Aussie yen, right? We hit the top. There's a reason we're looking for that top to break, and then we look for it to reverse, right? So do we have an expanding flat here? Now the question is this an expanding flat? And if that is an expanding flat, bingo, you've got a nice trade coming through, right? Now, how would we know that's an expanding flat? We wait for confirmation that it's proving it's an expanding flat, because we don't know whether this is the start of an impulse to the upside. I don't think it is. If you ask me, I don't think it is. I think this is a big expanding flat, so it needs to do one thing more for me. It needs to give me a corrective structure in here, or a corrective structure here, or a corrective structure here, and that would confirm this trade for me. It's that easy. It's not difficult. See that corrective structure? See this corrective structure? Remember when we tell you have to buy that back to the top? See this here? See this there? Remember when we said you got to buy there? See that one? You see this one? You see this one? Remember when you have sell setups? Same here. Wait for that. Look for the sell setup. This one should go more, because if that is the entire flat, we're looking for a big impulse to the downside. So this one should give all of you money if it plays out the way we expect it to play out. All right, if you get that correction and you take that trade, you're going to get a very nice impulse to the downside. Let's wait and see, right? New Zealand yen. This one, not expecting this one to go right now, because we expected this to break out. So now we have to figure out, is this whole correction over? Because if that whole correction is over, this one is going to go all the way to the top there. But if this entire correction is not over, and the reason it might not be over is because there's a lot of sharp waves in it. I'm not counting these. There's that sharp wave and there's this sharp wave. So if this is the flat, if we are correct about that being the flat, then this one just needs to make a correction here and it's going to go. If we are wrong about that being the flat and they were making another flat in here, then it could turn from here, go down, make a new low, then come back up and go. And probably still have more corrections to make. I think because of the depth to which it came, I think we may have completed the corrective structure and we're heading for the upside. So that means I'll be looking for corrections here. You'll be buying this already, so you can look for this to make some corrections here and then take off. Pretty much like this. And then take off. That would be your trade setup, right? Canadian, let me see if we can get it. It's pulling back deep. I still think we're going to look for that upside for now, because I don't see structurally a bigger downside here. Right, so I'll still think for now we will look for the upside until they break out of this low. Until they break this low, I'm not very keen on the sell. Even if I get a flag here, I'm not keen on the sell, because that could just drop and then go back. We've seen that happen before. So I'm going to be looking for sells when it breaks out of that structure, confirming they're not going up more than. For now, we're going to be keeping an eye on that structure for upside. Swiss yen is going up slowly but surely, so you can look for all the buy setups you get and take them. This is the buy setup you're getting here. If it breaks that, you can go for the trade. I don't see a sell setup here as yet. Right? I'll not go with any sell setup as yet. Aussie Swiss, you're climbing up, so probably wait. They need a correction here now. This needs to correct itself. So if you get any flag here, sell, take profit off. If they make another flag, sell, take profit. And if they start to do this, look for upside. If they drop very sharp, good for you. So look for sell setups. Aussie New Zealand. We still need to confirm that one up. The question is, when will they do that, right? Because we still need to get this thing to go up at least one more. It doesn't look very nice like it's going to go. So we'll keep an eye on it. It's probably going to come somewhere here lower, but I still think we need that one wave up, right? Because then we will not confirm the pattern. I have no idea what that pattern is going to do right now. This one was a little messy, so we'll wait here and see what they do. Still expect that one more up before it, to complete the pattern before it can go. So the best thing to do is stay out of this, right? Let it finish what it's doing, and then on the up wave, if you don't get anything on the sell, on the upside, the bigger trade will be on the upside, right? Because this is all in consolidation. Remember this? It's all in consolidation. This came from the punk cat, by the way. Remember that? It came from the, so when they come to this low, that trade is the one you don't want to miss. Right? This came from the punk cat. So watch this. Let them finish what they're doing if you don't get the sell, because it's difficult to get the sell. The structure is not, it's not playing the way I expect it to do, which means I'm not, something in there I'm not getting as yet. I'll figure it out, but I haven't figured it out as yet. Is it possible I'll just take off from there after going a little lower? From here after going a little lower? Possible. If it could come to this level here and then, like drop there and take off. But I always like them to break the low here. That's the low of the first leg down. Because the punk cat did break that low. So I'm expecting this to come and break the low. But at any point here, we start to see that turning sign before it actually breaks the low. Yep, we'll buy. So good question. Yeah, we'll definitely buy if we see that it's turning before breaking the low. So, you don't want to miss that buy side. Trust me, you don't want to miss that move up. Hey, it could take off like a rocket. But downside still possible more. So we're getting the turn. We finally broke this low. We're getting the turn. We actually did this structure way back. And I don't know if you guys will remember it. Actually posted in Trading View as well. So we're watching to see how low this was going to go after you broke that low. Probably come here and then go, but they're turning already. So it has to confirm that turn. Don't means that it's turning for that big wave right now. We haven't confirmed that turn as yet. We got a little correction here, but that means any correction you get here now, you will buy. So any correction you get here is a buy setup. Correction, buy setup. Right? You just keep buying every time you get a correction. New Zealand CAD. Same here. You'll have to watch this piece a little when it comes a little more here for possibility one more down, then go. We are expecting this to go up. It could either go now or they could come back one more. I don't think we're looking at a possible running flat there, but just in case, we're going to keep our eyes on that. So for the trade, you're looking for buy setups. Short-term sells, that's correction, right? You can get short-term sells here, which means this could come back here and then go, but that would be more correction than anything. Just like this one here. Correction and then go. So if you get short-term sells, take it, take profit off. But the trade you should be looking for is buy setup. New Zealand Swiss, look for buys. Yeah, look for buys. CAD Swiss, stay out of this one. This one is very, very complicated. Pull this line here. Wait for it to go back, make a flag, and then trade towards the top of the line. Right? It's just making a very, very complex pattern right now. Let me take off all of that, not to confuse you guys. Just making a very complex pattern. Right? So stay out of it. You see, we haven't even broke this stop as yet, so this whole thing is making a big correction. Copper broke out, came down. I don't think we're going down as yet. Same thing here. It's very difficult to figure out which direction you're going to go. Do we have an running flat? At the, is this a correction or is that a leading diagonal, expanding leading diagonal to the downside? I think most likely it's a correction. So even if they come back one more low here, I wouldn't be selling until I see a daily correction like that. Then I'm going for the sell. So right now from here, they can go right back up. Right? Just making much bigger correction. There was a small correction here, and then it starts to make a very big correction there. So just wait. This looks very corrective for upside. Natural gas. If you put the entry order, you got that, right? So I think there's more upside. Let's go back to the weekly so we can see how high this thing can go. You can fit this for the 270. Well, you still have a lot more to go, so very likely you can expect them to take every correction you have all the way to that top, and who knows if they go to that one, and who knows if they come to retest the whole top, right? So there's no limit to where that can go. You already had a correction in the middle, and it's going very nice. Every correction you get, buy. Right, so you can start buying. They make a next correction buy. Every now and then they'll have a deeper correction, but if you're looking for buys, you can ignore the deeper corrections. US oil, it's going much deeper. We're looking for a running flat. It looks like we've got an expanding flat. So which means two things you're going to look for. Look for possible reversals, or look for possible correction, drop more, and then go. Right? At this point, that is what you're looking for. They need to correct this if they're going to go down. If they're going to go up, they just have to reverse it. So you're looking for buy setups. If you're in the sells, and you should have been, if you're in the sell, there's a lot of sells set up there. If you're in them, you want to move your stops very tight, because now we will start to look for buy setups. When they start to do this, you're going to get a buy setup coming very soon. UK oil. UK oil does not have the same structure, but it's similar. See, this could be the very first we've done. And this is why we're being careful of calling the opposite, right? Because UK oil, this is the first one. This was a correction here by itself in UK oil. So this is a first impulse down. If they start to correct their way up, you can look for buy setups. If this goes as a correction, we're going to be looking for a bigger drop, right? This could end up being a bigger drop. So because of that, watch what the US oil is going to do on its way up. Is it a corrective structure, or is it an impulsive structure? And based on those two, you'll make your decision. S&P 500. It's going up nice. I think we may get a correction here. Right, we might get some correction here. We're getting some correction there. And then look for more upside. DAX. I don't see that one falling. DAX is giving you a flat here for more upside. We expected that to go up. We have the forecast there showing at least one more up to this level. Remember this one here. At least one more up to there, and then we'll see. So you're getting a buy setup here, actually. And a nice one. So look for buys. Let's see. Nifty. It's making some corrections here. So if you're slightly going to go up more, I think a few of these charts I might be getting lagging on them, because I'm getting a different structure from what the market is doing based on the chart I'm using. I may change those charts. One of my traders was telling me which are the best charts, giving the best reading on them. We'll see. Structurally, they wouldn't be much different, but there might be a lagging in the structure from what we see, from what the structure is actually doing. Right? Bitcoin. See? Even if it goes up a little more, the bigger structure is downside, because we expect this to go down. We're not looking for upside. So now that it turned, you can take that off, and you can expect this to come back and retest this low. It's all in a big consolidation, so definitely we're expecting it to go retest that low. And when it retests the low, then we will start to look for the upside. Test this low again, maybe lower if possible, but then you start to look for the upside. Until and unless it tests that low, the buys are very short term and very temporary. Right? We'll see. Very much looks like we're looking for that. It might get a little more complicated in here now. Let me just take this off. If you understand structure, this whole piece could get a little more complicated because of the number of subwaves that are already developing in it. Right? But I still think we're going to look for this to come down, maybe go back up, maybe come down again, maybe go back up, maybe come down again, and then we'll take off. Which means all of these are a lot of subwaves that needs to complete themselves before you go. So it's not like we're going to take off right now. There will be a number of up and downs that could happen, and that means you have to really be careful when you're getting into the trades, buys or sells. Because there are a lot of sharp waves, a lot of impulses that have not completed themselves into patterns yet. Ethereum, let's see. This one is kind of easy. This one is very easy. As a matter of fact, it's much easier. I think all of you can see that, right? Two things you need to look for. Are we starting a wave here to the upside? Or are we making some kind of a corrective structure here for one more down? There are about 4 possibilities when you see that pattern. Anybody tell you that that is simple, it's easy. It's not true. That's one of the most difficult patterns. Because right now there are about 4 possibilities in it. We're not going to go into all the possibilities here, but I will just give you 2 of them so that it'll make your life easy. One up, one down. That's making your life easy. This one has 3 variations, and this one has 1 variation. This one variation is not going to happen. That is a triangle. That is not a triangle. So it's left with a contracting flat within a contracting flat to go down. So first expect a little more up and then the downside. See, it's when you see this pattern, you start to know what the pattern could possibly do, because they're complex. They're not complicated. Let's put it that way. Complex things are not always complicated. They're pretty easy to see. But when it becomes complex, you have to break it up into simpler parts to see each simple part makes a complex part, right? Ripple, this was the easy one. So we made 1, 2, 3. We did make that spike. If you put some profit there, you're wondering is there a possibility for more downside? So we've got this 1, 2, 3 up. We've got this one here. We came down. Here's a flat in there. And then they make 1, 2, 3, and they start to look like they're going to make an attempt to come back to retest this low. Right? So that could end up being a 1, 2, 3, and then go back up. This could end up being a bigger corrective structure in play. Right? Possible? Possible. So if they're going to go down, ignore this sell. Ignore this sell if it comes down, but watch for this area to buy. Once they break that area, start buying like crazy. If you trade cryptos and you believe in them and you like one of them to trade, this would be a good one to like, right? If they don't do that, your buy setup will have to come way at the top above here. So this doesn't have a buy setup. Right now, you're getting a sell setup. See? For a bigger corrective structure. If it is going to go up, they will first have to drop a little here, not very low, and then start to go back up. Watch for the break of this, watch for a sharp move, wait for a flag, and then buy. If they do this, they will go to retest the top. All right, so right now at this point, it's either a 1, 2, 3 for downside, or this is a correction to totally retest the top. I'm more inclined to believe for the downside. Because all of them are looking like they have one more attempt to the down before they come back up. Let's see what else we can do here. I think that's about all. We've covered everything. So we still have 4 more minutes. If you guys have any questions that you'd like to ask that might be worth answering, I could go ahead and take it from you. We have done a lot of pairs, so we're not going to do any more pairs. Platinum, like I said, can a B wave have 5 waves? Absolutely, yes. Symmetrical triangles are common? No, not so common. Triangles in general, not so common. The most common pattern you're going to find are flats. Among them is regular flats. Regular flats are more common in the lower time frame. Running flats are the second most common one I have found so far. Though you find them morely in the higher time frame, 4-hour daily. And you've got some expanding flats. Is it possible cat to hit the second blue line? I will have to go check where that second blue line is. How many percent of growth a trader can expect to make with a 1% risk reward? You can make an average, like if you take, I'll not guess that one. I'll give you the stats for my group. My group, I don't know if I can bring up that poll because it's in another thing, right? But there are many of my traders here to prove that this is the poll we took. So the poll had 4 questions. 1, if you're successful, are you making from 1 to 3%? We got 29 point something percent. Are you making from 3 to 5%? We got 29 point something percent, right? Are you not making profit? I think we got pretty much about 30%. And some of them are not trading live, right? That comes in about 10% not trading live. I think less than that because a few people didn't answer from the group. And we had about 80 something people in the webinar when we took that. So, and they're all trading about 1%. Plus minus 1% per trade. So can you make 5% a month? Yes, you can. That depends on how good you are as a trader. So Traders normally, when they want to think, traders will call me and ask me, okay, can I make enough money to live? And then my immediate question to them, well, how much money do you need to live? Because that's different for every one of us. So there is one trader who sent me, you don't have to identify yourself because I pretty much believe you're in here. He says, I like to make $1,000 a month. How much capital do I need? I said, consider that 5% of your capital. So you need about $20,000 to trade with, right? Around that, plus minus how much you can afford, right? Basically. So the guy said, well, that sounds like very little money to make a month. I was like, show me another business that does that, and then you go do that business, right? See? Now you can make more than that. Don't get me wrong. We have traders who have doubled, tripled their accounts so far for the year and done more, right? But I'm not taking extremes. I'm not going to say you are one of those traders as yet. You will have to prove to me you're one of them. I'm giving you what the average 60% of traders in our group are doing. And I start with everybody being, hey, when you join my group, the number one thing you have to tell yourself is you will be the best trader in the world. That's when you join my group. That is the intention of joining my group, that you will become the best trader in the world. Now, if you ever become that great, congratulations, we'll all be happy. But that is what you have to strive to be. You can't strive to be a moderate and, I'm not going to be, I'm just going to be an average trader. That doesn't work for you. You don't have ambition. You're not trying to become successful. If you do that, you're killing your success. You strive to be the best and let it work out. I'm pretty sure you're going to work out very successful, even though you're not the best, right? So modestly speaking, you're not the best if you're in my group, but you can strive to be the best. It's always good, right? It's always good to strive to be better. One single wave can. One single wave confirm once you have a correction? Not necessarily. That's not true. So you need to take the course, Julio, so you can understand what we do. If you take the course, you'll understand. I think a lot of traders are trying to guess what we do. Here's the thing. Here's what you have to do. Don't guess. And the best thing you get when you're in the room is not only what you learn from me, is what you're learning while you're in the room with 100+ traders in the room with you every single day successfully trading, right? Those are very active traders. We have a number of hundreds of traders who are in the background trading and who post charts and do different things. But there are people actively, 50 to 60 people in the trading room every now and then trading with you actively. That is the advantage of what you get. Now, if you don't like that, you have a choice. There are some of the traders who I throw out of my group trying to sell webinars somewhere. They can sell you some second-class stuff. You can go and learn that if you want. That's okay. They'll even sell you cheaper. So if you like it to buy cheaper and then pay twice, go ahead. But it's if you want to learn this good, you learn it from the person who knows it. So you have a choice. You haven't done this. This is like the last week. You have to pay the 19th. We're starting next Monday. We're starting. So I'll see all of you there. Take care. Right? Have a good week. Trade with success, and I think you can all make enough money to pay for the course this week. I would see all of you next week. Right? I hope all of you can make that money. So everybody, thank you for coming. Have a good week ahead of you, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.